Okay, just a quick video here. The different colors of holographic foils, or just foils in general, colored foils, are really fun to use. But the thing that I have realized, and I think I forgot about it after using the Recollections versions of them, is that something like a silver foil is just that's the base type of color. It's like chrome or something like that. It's the real mirrored looking type of foil, be it holographic or again plain. But sometimes when I've added colors, I've added water-based brilliance ink to them in the past. Again, with all types of foils. With some of them, the color starts to come off on my applicator. In this case, it's a 100% cotton ball. But this one was used on a golden color like that. And if you can see right there, there's a little bit of that golden color. When I've been doing this on the red, I can see a little bit of a reddish tinge on here. Okay, so that being said, we have some very surface-oriented printer ink on there, some kind of transparent color. I don't know if I'm guessing it's not water-based, but it could be because it's coming off with the water-based brilliance ink. But that being said, the acrylic sealants that I've been using to lock down my brilliance inks on the surface here can affect this surface on here. Okay, now I wasn't running into many issues, but I've been told that, someone was when they spray sealed their pieces. So if you look at this right here, I don't see any kind of discoloration or a kind of putting back into solution that colored printer's ink that's been applied on here, okay? But, okay, I've been using, I would say about a 12-inch distance between my spray and my surface. And then I hit it very quickly where it's just laying down a very thin layer on here. And then I allow it a few seconds to dry. And then I go back again from the same distance. So as soon as that very light, almost misting of the spray hits that, it dries probably pretty instantly. So it's not going to be affecting the overall printed media that has been used on here. Okay, so that being said, one of the things that I wanted to test on this type of colored holographic in this case was if I spray sealed the ink down on here, okay? And then if I stamp over the top of it, maybe it would keep my imagery whiter and thus lighter than just doing it straight onto the material where that ink seems to permeate the printer's ink on the surface, that is, the foil, permeates the ink that is making up that impression. In this case, again, it's the white brilliance ink, okay? So I went out to spray it, and it's really cold and kind of, I don't know, it's a rainy day today. It's not raining when I did this, but you can see on here, do you see these hard kind of streaks on here? Let me see if I can get in here without losing focus here. It's kind of hard on this camera here because there's so much of that reflected light, but you can see that kind of separation. So you can see I did like 3 passes on here, but I did it fairly close, and I can see there's a definite separation, and putting back into solution that red ink that's been applied over the top of it, you can see it's separating right there in that brief time that this spray fixative is in solution. Now, that wasn't happening on my other ones. Again, I sprayed from more of a distance like that. Now, I went back on this one, and I sprayed from distance again, and there's no problem. The only thing that might happen on something like this is it gets a little bit more frosty because you're laying down kind of almost this microscopic bead application of this spray. It's not going on like a thick slathering like it did, or a thicker slathering in these 4 streaks going across here, okay? So you can see the difference right there. Okay, but let's do a test here, and let's see if stamping this out, now on a more sealed surface yields a more contrasting, stronger, whiter image. Okay, now pigment inks always kind of dry a little bit darker and more translucent than they look when they're freshly applied, okay? But let's just see if that spray sealing helps it a little bit more. Oops. Take off my plastic coating right there. I was wondering why nothing was going on. All right, this one is done on the lightly sprayed surface. This is the Art Foamies version of the Winter Ash. It's nice and big and like so much fun to use. Okay, so if you've been watching my videos, you press and you hold. Don't squeeze it down too hard, but you know, just light, firm, even coverage as far as your pressure goes. The Art Foamies contour perfectly to your surfaces. So you don't want to press too much either, because if I did some over inking onto the non-raised portion, you don't want that to print out either. So I'm just waiting. I'm allowing this white ink to start to set up a little bit. It's not going to dry completely, you know, unless I hold this down for like a half an hour, which I'm not going to do, or even like 15, 20 minutes. We'll just hold it down for like a minute or two. I don't know, maybe it's like under a minute. Okay, so there we have it right there. I don't think I inked up enough here. Let me go with a little bit more ink. I was wondering that. I think my pad might be getting a little bit drier. Let's see if I can get a stronger impression here. Usually my second print here, you know, I build up more ink on this surface right here, so it would give me a lighter impression anyway. But okay, so I remember this one is the one that is a little bit streaky with the heavier application of the acrylic spray. So let's see how this one goes. Maybe I'll hold this down a little bit longer, or maybe I can just even pause. And I don't know, maybe hold this one down for, I don't know, maybe a couple minutes. Here, I'll put this right on top here. My spray bottle. Yeah, let's give it a minute. I'm just curious myself to see if this yields kind of a stronger result. All right, let's take a look at this. Okay, a little bit of a stronger impression there. Let's take a look here. All right, so we have these two. Much more ink got transferred to this one, unless this is just freshly applied and, you know, we still have a little bit of time to wait to see if it gets a little bit more translucent with that ink showing through. Okay, so even though, you know, we have that texturing in the back of this one here, it really doesn't affect the holographic nature of it. It does affect that red printing of the ink over the surface here, though. So let's see if this will be stronger. I mean, you can see how much whiter this is than this one right here. Again, it kind of just depends. You know, this one I left on here for like 3 minutes, you know, to let that ink transfer. There's still quite a bit of ink left on this, though. But let's see how this one will compare to these other ones here. With a couple minutes left to, you know, or allowed to dry, and then we'll see. All right, let's take a look at these. I don't know if this is no, that's whiter, right? But again, I'm not sure if it's just because I left that stamp sitting on there for a while or what. And this one is lighter again. I don't know, I just didn't use enough ink on this one, and then I didn't let it set for very long. But we can learn from that. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray seal these. So we have the spray sealant underneath the impression. We'll have the spray sealant over the impression. That being said, okay, so the spray sealant on the surface of the holographic, the foil, didn't affect the ability for the stamp to make, a good impression over the top of it. So that's a good sign. So what we'll be doing is we'll be embedding the white pigment ink in between layers of sealant. Okay, now I'm doing the sealant over the top of it because sometimes when you spray seal over the top of this, it makes the inks a little bit, like I said, more translucent and transparent. We'll see if it keeps its kind of opacity. I mean, you can still see the red through there, so it's translucent, but we'll see if it's as translucent after I give it a quick thin spray over the top of this one. And then this one's going to be just darker to begin with. So this one might be good where you stamp something very kind of darker on that, and then we can do something in the foreground that's lighter so it pushes distance as well. So I don't know, different types of things that we can do. All right, let's test these out, or not test them out, but compare them. Okay, so the ones that I really need comparison are these two right here. This one is, I wouldn't say it's quite a bit lighter than this, but a decent amount. Yeah, I don't know, I guess when you put them like right side by side like that. I mean, this one's noticeably lighter. Now, again, I mean, this was a bad experiment because this one I was making that, I allowed the stamp to sit on top of here for probably 3 times as long as this one. So was it the sealant underneath here that contributed to the lightness of it, or was it just the sheer kind of impression time that took place in this one right here? Yeah, it's quite a bit darker. So this one's, I don't know, that was a bad experiment right there. So now on this one right here, is it worth kind of pressing and holding, or in this case, just putting, something a little bit heavy over the top of it and allowing it to transfer like that for such a long time? I don't know. I think this looks just fine as is too. But again, if you're just doing like one card or something like that, and not doing multiples of the same card, like sending out 20 of these for Christmas cards, I wouldn't do that on like this and just take, several minutes to make all of my kind of foundational impressions. I would stamp it out like that. And I don't know, this one was probably like a 20-second or something like that. I don't know. I'm guessing 20-30-second impression, where this one was more like a 3-minute, or I don't know, maybe it was 5-minute impression. Although that looks pretty good. I don't know. So one of the things that we didn't do either on something like this, we'll need to experiment with embossing and getting a really white image over the top of that. And I think that would look really dramatic. Can we do it on the foil without this totally buckling and curling and the metallic surface kind of delaminating? I don't know. But we can try hitting it from the backside or something like that. But something like this could look pretty dramatic. I think the white would be really good. I'm trying to think of it in silver. I think the silver would look okay, but maybe that would be too reflective, and maybe that would be competing with the holographic nature of it. Sometimes we want things to be more complementary rather than too similar in terms of the textural finishes on it. So I'm not sure. Look how 3-dimensional this looks. I think it looks pretty 3-dimensional, but all right. So there's our tests right there. So be careful about the distance in which you spray seal your pieces, and try to avoid, unless you want that on there, which it could be incorporated into like technique, but you can see that kind of spattering up there. And again, this is on the colored foils, not the silver foil, which you shouldn't really run into, or the silver holographic types of papers, because I think those are the foundational types of colors. And to get these different types of hues, the different versions of them, they just print over the top of those silver ones. And that's the thing that we're trying to avoid kind of manipulating with the sprays. And again, unless you want to kind of incorporate that texture within the piece. And I think texture can be pretty cool at times, but you want to control it and get kind of what you want out of it. All right, so another experiment here. I thought it was worthwhile because I've been speculating about, certain types of techniques for a while. I thought I'd give it a try here. I don't know if I answered it. More techniques will probably be needed, or more experiments will be needed. So anyway, all right. So if you found this video useful at all, I hope you click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and hope to see you on the next video.